Hey everyone, welcome again to BricksMembers. In this tutorial I will show you how you can restrict menu items of WordPress menus based on user levels in BricksMembers, which is quite useful oftentimes if you want to ensure that only the right users see the right menu items. So let's get straight into it. We're starting on the BricksMembers settings page here, and to activate that you would have to click on modules. And there you see I activated it already. It is the enable user level menu widget. So if this checkbox here is turned on, if you go to appearance and then you choose any of your menu items, then you have this little drop down here, visibility in brackets BricksMembers, and there you can select all sorts of stuff. Like you can select that this menu item only shows to logged in or logged out users, and you can also show it only to users that have certain user levels, or you can hide it if they have certain user levels. So usually you would probably go for show if user has levels, and if you activate that, then you see that all those user level checkboxes appear here that we're already used to. And now when I go to the front end, for example, I'm on that course page here, you see I have access because my user has Learn with Pascal Elite and there are no levels selected, nothing. It was actually always show before, so of course it shows up. But now let's say I select Final Cut Pro color grading, save menu, and then I reload the page, and you see that menu item is gone because now I don't have that Final Cut Pro video editing user level here. If I would add that user level to my user and reload the page, then the page of course appears again directly. Anyway, let's undo that so that I don't have access again. Reload the page, and now what you see is that I am actually on that courses page, but it is not shown in the menu again. And that is important to remember. This only affects the menu item. Like the menu item in that menu does not show up to the user anymore if he does not have the required level. But that does not mean that the user cannot access this page anymore. So you would still have to either use Bricks Builder to show a message on that page to a user that doesn't have access, that he doesn't have access and where he can purchase access, for example, or you would have to use those BricksMembers redirect rules here under access control to redirect users that don't have access to it to another page. It's really up to you how to handle that. I generally recommend doing that with Bricks Builder because it's a bit more dynamic and you can show custom messages or other content to users that don't have access, and that essentially can get you more sales or give the user a better experience than just redirecting him to another page. But yeah, it's up to you how to do that. It's just important to be reminded of that because this feature really only affects the menu items and it does not restrict the access to a certain page. And yeah, that's actually all you have to know really when it comes to showing or hiding menu items dynamically in WordPress with BricksMembers. But there's one more thing that I want to show you because you don't necessarily always have to use those native WordPress menus if they don't really fit your use case, because Bricks Builder is quite amazing, as we all know, when it comes to using query loops to generate your own menus. So for example, what I have here is that modules sidebar where essentially I have a menu where I show all the modules from this current course and also the lessons of each module. And it even lets me style the current lesson and the current module differently from all others. So let me show you how I did that, because that essentially also lets you restrict what menu items the users see based on user level or anything really that you want. That's possible to set up with BricksMembers. So how I did that here is that I essentially created all of that myself here. Like I have this module outer, which is a UL element, and then I have the module, which is an LI element, so essentially just a div element from Bricks set to the HTML tag LI. And I use that for making the query loop, and there inside the query loop, I set the within structure boundary to parent level. The reason why I do that, why I select parent level, is that when we go to our courses here, to the structure, then you see that when I'm on a lesson page here, what I am, like this is a lesson page, then the parent would be module and the parent of a module would be course. So by selecting boundary level, parent level, that means that when I run this query loop here on module posts, it will only show the modules that are within the current course because the course is the parent level. So here we are in this DaVinci Resolve video editing and color grading course, and this only shows all the modules that are within that course, because if we're looking into the structure here, you see that we have 10 courses here in total. And so, of course, I don't want to all modules show up in that course here. So essentially, we're setting boundaries there, we're restricting the content. And then inside of that, we have the query loop for lessons. So again, I have a lesson wrapper here at first, a OL, because here I want to have ABC, etc. And then I also use a div element here as an li HTML tag with query loop for post type lesson. And oops. Again, you see boundary level, parent level, exactly the same, because in that case here, in that context, the parent level is that module. So it's actually super easy, like whenever you build such menus, you can just always select parent level and will always automatically select the correct one. And so you don't have to think about that anymore. Like otherwise you would have to select current or top level or level 2 or 3 or so. And it just makes it more complicated. So you just select parent level and it will automatically figure it out for you, even if you nest one query loop into the other, like I did here by nesting a lesson query loop inside the module query loop. And now within that query loop, I could also go in here and select user level match, match, no match, or whatever you want. Of course, I wouldn't do that here because the user obviously has access to that course. But if you do that, for example, to build any sorts of other menu, then you can totally also use those query loop filters here to have such content restrictions in those menus available. But it's even more powerful because here you can also restrict by drip, you can restrict by progress if the user, for example, when it comes to drip content, already has access to a certain type of content or not. Like, you have a lot more options here, which is fantastic. And when it comes to styling the current posts, then there's also a nice feature from BricksMembers, which is that here on that module post, for example, when you go to style under CSS classes, you see that I have the dynamic tag BRM active in there. And what this tag does is that it adds the BRM active class to every post inside a query loop that is the current post, or every parent that is a parent within our content structures of the current post. So for example, here you see the storage module is where our current post, how I store my files, is in. Like here we're on that how I store my files post, and storage is the module. So it applies that class BRM active to this module. Like it essentially looks like if this module is a parent of the current post, and if yes, then it applies the isActive class. And the same goes here for the current post, how I store my files. It also looks up if the current post equals that post of the query loop, and also applies the BRM active class, as you can see here. And then you can style everything dynamically. So this is essentially how you can easily build perfect menus here using query loops in Bricks Builder, mostly by using native Bricks Builder features, but combined with additional filters here from the BricksMembers plugin. And yeah, then again, you can use all your user level match filters or any other filters really there and build your own custom menu. So yeah, that's it already for this tutorial. This is how you can dynamically show or hide menu items from users by either using native WordPress menus or by building your own. And if you want to know more about user levels and also how to protect content with the BricksMembers plugin, check out these two videos here. There you will find out more. And of course, also subscribe to this channel, because there are tons of more tutorials that we already have published and that will also be published in the future. So if you want to build your custom membership sites exactly as you want to using Bricks Builder, then you should be part of this channel. Okay, I'm out and I hope to see you in the next video.